Now, the hunt for Virat Kohli's successor as Test captain is now in top gear. Top BCCI officials and selectors will be sitting with coach Rahul Dravid along with Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul for discussions. Sources have said that Rohit Sharma has experience of all format and that he has done captaincy as and when required. He was also deputy of Virat and remains the front runner. Meanwhile, KL Rahul's form in England and South Africa there has pushed him into a Test vice captain's role in Rohit Sharma's absence. Selectors may be tempted to pick him, keeping in mind that Rohit is injury-prone. On the other hand, cricket legend Sunil Gavaskar has backed young Rishabh Pant to lead India in the Test series. Let me quickly cut across to Nikhil Naz, joining us live for more on that. Nikhil, here it seems like the most contested post, the captain for the Test series to lead Team India. It appears that Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul both are front runners. Who is likely to be picked?
Well, Navila, the good thing at the moment is that there's no urgency as to who should be the next Test captain. That's because India only play the next Test series in about a month's time from now, and that Test match will be played against Sri Lanka in Bangalore. So I think the decision to appoint who the next Test captain is going to be would be taken right before that. So I think you still have about 2 to 3 weeks. What that does is allows the BCCI then to have those conversations, as you were mentioning, with, I think, one key member who's going to be there, who will be helping the selectors decide who should be the next coach, is going to be a new coach in Rahul Dravid. Currently, because the team is in South Africa and they're in the middle of a series, they finished the Test series and they'll be playing an ODI series. And I don't think this would be an appropriate time to have that conversation with the coach. So I think they're going to wait for the team to return from South Africa. And I think Rahul Dravid is going to be a very important member of this conversation, alongside, of course, the board secretary, the president, and as well as the selectors. And then they're going to pick who the next captain is going to be. Now, turning our attention towards who the contenders are, I could think of 5 to 6 names that they could consider. However, having said that, I think the number one name that really comes to your mind has to be that of Rohit Sharma, simply because he was the vice captain in the Test format. He is now your white ball captain. He is the most experienced player that you will have, and he's got a proven pedigree as far as captaincy is concerned. He's been a true leader and has done very, very well in the limited opportunities that he's got to be captain, whether it was with the IPL or whether it was with the Indian team. So I think all of that put together, I think that would be the best option. Also considering that this has come as a bolt from the blue. This has happened suddenly. Had this happened gradually and they knew that Virat was going to leave, they could have groomed. I think that was their plan B, to groom someone like a KL Rahul. But because it's happened, immediately, they'll have to have someone experienced enough to take this Indian team forward. And I think on that front, there is only one option in Rohit Sharma. The only issue that comes with Rohit is, will he be fit enough to be captaining all 3 formats? Remember, he's already your white ball captain as well. So that is something the selectors would have to consider. But just looking at all the other options, you've got other option in Jasprit Bumrah, who was made vice captain briefly, but the thing with a fast bowler is he may not be available for all Test matches. Then you've got KL Rahul, who you thought was a bit undercooked in that one Test match that he did captain. So it's best to have him as his deputy and then gradually give him the reins to be a captain. So I think the stopgap arrangement, or at least for a year, 2 years, Rohit Sharma seems to be the hottest contender, and I think that's the name that most likely you'll see the Indian selectors and the coach go for.
But ultimately, Nikhil, who has a say to selecting the next Test captain?
Well, that lies with the selectors. I mean, it's the selectors, it's their prerogative to decide who's going to be the next Test captain. But that is not to say that they're not going to consider a lot of other opinions as well. As I said, they are going to take into, the coach's word into account. I mean, Rahul Dravid is going to play a major role because he's been given charge of this team. And we've seen it in the past that it's always a combo of a coach and a captain that works really well for cricket anywhere in the world. I mean, we saw it with Virat Kohli as well. Ravi Shastri and Virat Kohli forged a great combo, and that is what took Indian Test cricket as far as they did at number 1 in the world. So I think Rahul Dravid's suggestions are going to be very, very important, and then it's left to the selectors to decide. But they will also consider a lot of workload. As we're saying, the one obvious name that you would want to have is Rohit Sharma, but you need to have that conversation with Rohit. Is he fit enough? How long does he see himself playing all formats of the game? Because he's had injury issues. Is he comfortable enough to take that workload? Now remember, summer, Virat himself let go of the T20 captaincy because he thought that there was too much of workload to captain all formats. Would Rohit be willing to take that responsibility? That's going to be a very, very important conversation. If not, then maybe you select someone like a KL Rahul and have Rohit alongside him, and of course you'll also have Virat in the team, help him, handhold him, and then take him forward as a captain. That's another option you can look at. But at the end of the day, it's the selectors' call, and I think the coach is going to play a very, very massive role in deciding who's going to be your next captain.
All right, Nikhil Naz, do stay with us to get a small insight into the number of them who could be the top contenders or the front runners. Yeah, I'm going to take our audience through who will possibly replace Virat Kohli as the captain for the Test series. Rohit Sharma is one who is widely, of course, rumoured to be the favourite choice. The current ODI and T20 captain, Rohit Sharma, is the front runner. Then you have, of course, KL Rahul, who's also set to lead India against South Africa in the ODIs. His performance lately has really pushed him as the front runner as well. Jasprit Bumrah, vice-captain for South Africa ODI series. He's also set to be the front runner in this choice, in fact, in this selection process. Nikhil, we're also looking at Jasprit Bumrah. Give us some insight about that. And also a few other names cropping up. Rishabh Pant too as one of the widely spoken about contenders.
Right. So, Ravina, let me just run you through a few more names. I've already gone into the merits and demerits of what could happen if you appoint Rohit Sharma, and I think he's the number one contender that you have. Now, let's take a look at a few other names. Jasprit Bumrah, as you spoke about, he's really come on the international scene in the last few years, and now is arguably one of the finest bowlers across all formats. That's a given. He is also in the cricketing circles considered as someone who's really a thinking cricketer who does, think a lot about the game, whether it's tactically or in terms of strategizing. So he's been part of that thinking group as well. So he could be a contender. The only thing I don't see going in favor of someone like a Jasprit Bumrah, because we've seen with fast bowlers, their workload management comes into play, where because of the kind of work that they have to do, and especially bowling those long spells in test match cricket, they may not be available for all series. So we've seen it with fast bowlers. In other countries, it's become kind of a norm where they have a compulsory rotation policy. In Indian cricket also, we've spoken about it multiple times. So will he be playing all your test matches every series? Maybe, maybe not. So I think that's something that goes against someone like a Jasprit Bumrah. KL Rahul has been spoken much about, and I think that entire talk about his captaincy really started from the IPL when he started captaining Kings 11 Punjab. And I think that would be a folly, mixing different formats. What he's done in the IPL vis-a-vis what he can do in the test arena, I think a completely different format. And I think we shouldn't make the mistake of mixing them. That one test match that he captained in South Africa, you could clearly see some sort of inexperience there in captaining. Not to say that anyone who takes captaincy comes, completely prepared, and it does take time. Virat Kohli, again, an example. It does take time for him to mature into that role. But I think immediately, would you want KL Rahul to take the reins of the team? I think he will be the second option if in case Rohit is not comfortable captaining in all formats. So that's one thing that goes against KL Rahul. I think he's still a bit undercooked, still a bit inexperienced to be leading this Indian team. The other thing is that he's just now started becoming a bit consistent in test match cricket.
Right.
You want to burden him with captaincy and then have his batting form suffer? Maybe that's not something that, the Indian selectors or Indian cricket at large would want to see.
All right, Nikhil, thank you very much for joining us with those details. Now, we know that soon after Virat Kohli announced that he will be stepping down as a captain of the Test squad, former cricketer Sunil Gavaskar, in fact, he himself said, unlike others, he wasn't too surprised with this announcement that came in from Virat Kohli.